country's biggest political corruption scandal. And in 1996, Air Marshal Asghar Khan filed a petition in the Supreme Court seeking action against the concerned ISI officials.
I read in the papers that it had been discussed in the National Assembly that the intelligence-directed inter-services, intelligence-directed officers had distributed money for an election to politicians on the behest of the government. And I thought it very odd. So I wrote a letter to the Chief Justice asking him to take suo motu notice of this, what has happened, and punish those people, service officers, who distributed money on behalf of the government to politicians and take appropriate action. So I was summoned to the Supreme Court, and the Chief Justice very kindly decided to take notice of this.
The Mehran Bank scandal was brought to light during the second tenure of Benazir Bhutto as Prime Minister. But damage had already been done in the 1990 elections. The Mehran Bank scandal occurred when General Aslam Beg was Army Chief and Lieutenant General Asad Durrani was head of the ISI. After his retirement from the ISI, General Durrani submitted a list in the Supreme Court containing the names of all those politicians who had received money from the ISI.
Yes, some funds were distributed. These funds did not belong to the government or to the ISI. ISI was not involved. I am the one who was involved.
Mehran Bank money was not the only tool used to rig the 1990 elections. Reports suggest that President Ghulam Isa Khan established an election cell to manipulate the elections.
There was in the past in the President's house many years ago where election cell is made up and it is decided by the establishment how many votes which party is going to get and how many members are going to sit in the National Assembly and the Provincial Assemblies.
Lieutenant General Rafakat, Ijlal Haider Zaidi and Roedat Khan were allegedly members of the 1990 election cell, but all of them deny having any such role.
I have repeatedly said this on television, in print media, that I was never a member of any election cell. It is a lie. It is totally unfounded. It is a lie. And I have said so repeatedly. In fact, I have threatened that if anybody repeats this question again, I will take him to a court of law,
As a result of the 1990 elections, Nawaz Sharif formed his government in the center. But his stay was short-lived. Mr. Sharif could not coexist with President Ghulam Isa Khan. The army intervened, but to the minimum extent this time. Both Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and President Ghulam Isa Khan resigned, and fresh elections were held in 1993.
The fact is that because they were not getting along together, the country was in a bit of a problem, and General Wahid then, as I said, spoke to both of them and said that they should be getting along. But since their problems were somewhat insurmountable, they decided that they should both leave the scene.
In 1993, the Pakistan People's Party won and was set for another rough ride. However, it is said that during Ms. Bhutto's second tenure, the ISI's involvement in political affairs was kept to a bare minimum. The IB was used quite blatantly during the tussle with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Sajjad Ali Shah. The Intelligence Bureau bugged the telephones of the top judges to keep the Prime Minister abreast of their moves.
No, I will not deny it. Why will I deny that? It has happened. It is part of our history. It would be wrong of me to deny that we have tapped these telephones. They're doing it even now. If they deny it, they would be saying something which is not true. I have said it on the floor of the Supreme Court. I was brought up before a bench of the Supreme Court headed by Sayyid-ur-Zaman Siddiqui Sahib, who was the Chief Justice at that time, and Justice Nasir Aslam Zahid, and Justice Bashir Jahangiri. That was the bench. They hauled me up. I was called up on a suo motu notice about the telephone tapping of the judge's telephone. There was a human rights case that was made suo motu. I owned it on the floor of the Supreme Court. It has happened, yes. But the point is, I don't think anybody can deny that these things happen in Pakistan. Have happened, do happen right now also.
Bugging the judge's telephone was one of the charges on the basis of which the second government of Pakistan People's Party was prematurely dismissed by President Farooq Laghari. In the 1996 general elections, Nawaz Sharif secured victory, but could not sustain the burden of a so-called heavy mandate. On October 12, 1999, General Musharraf dismissed Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif in a military coup. After about 1 year, he was exiled to Saudi Arabia under an agreement. General Musharraf now needed a political base. In early 2001, a King's Party came into existence.
ISI had a big role in helping to organize, getting various people to come into.
The literal translation of the Urdu word Zamir is conscience. Many Q-Leaguers say while joining the King's Party, they acted in accordance to the call of their Zamir. In fact, it was General Zamir who was calling the shots. Major General Ehtesham Zamir headed the internal wing of the ISI from 2001 to 2002. The political desk is said to be an offshoot of the internal wing. Appearing for the first time before the media, General Zamir makes interesting revelations in this exclusive interview with the Dawn Investigation Cell. Ehtesham Sahib, you are considered as one of the architects of the PMLQ. Do you have any hard feelings?
Well, it's not a compliment if you say that I'm the architect of PMLQ. I have done no civil engineering. In any case, I don't have any diploma. I'm basically a military soldier. So given a task of ISI, for the first thing I think to my advantage was that the PMLQ was already there on ground. So I am not the architect. The President himself, I think, has been very candid and forthright in mentioning all these events in his book. Very briefly, I would say that, of course, I cannot deny that we had no role. We were basically providing political management, precisely, if I can be as civilized as possible, to the in the form of sponsorship to the that's why the King's Party or the ruling party, the sponsorship was very much there of cobbling like-minded people which can support the 7-point agenda of President Musharraf. We had the National Alliance and other smaller parties like Tehreek-e-Insaf and others who joined us basically to support the President. So we were acting as mediators between the government and the political system.
The ISI generated the wind for General Musharraf's political cronies to sail smoothly through the last general elections. But General Zamir says the agency did not rig the 2002 elections at the polling stations level.
If you